What's good, everybody? Valley here once again. Welcome back to the workbench. Please excuse the mess as always. This thing is never sleeping. There's always something on here, I swear. It's a curse. But yeah, this time I've got the 8Brothers metal Slingfire lever. You might remember a while ago that I did a review on another lever. I forget who made that one. It might have been 8Brothers all that time ago, but I don't know. I'll have to get my sources. I might put a little bit of text down at the screen to kind of let me know exactly what it was. But yeah, this is a new Slingfire lever, and this one is beautiful. If you just look here. It is a solid piece of metal. Well, it's not really solid, but yeah. It is welded together up here and pinned together right here. But it is very, very nice. And it resembles the original Slingfire lever. Pretty well, if you see here. Here's the original. And yeah, it's a much heavier, much nicer looking version, in my opinion. These can be found on NF Strike, as well as maybe a couple other places like Taobao, AliExpress, that sort of thing. But in the kit you get the replacement gears, a couple pins, a pad for the plunger tube, which I think this might be the worker one, and a better spring for the Slingfire. This also might be a worker piece. And some grease, which is actual mobile brand grease, which is quite nice. Because there's a lot of this stuff here, so it'll be quite good for using on other things, but this is definitely necessary for these metal gears because you don't want these wearing down. And yeah. But yeah, I've got a Slingfire here that needs a little bit of TLC. So I'm going to get this thing open and we'll get going on this. Okay, now that I got this thing unscrewed, the Slingfire has one longer, thinner screw. It goes right here, behind the jam door. I don't know why it's specifically there. It might just be for the breech or anything, but that's something to keep in mind whenever you are opening your thing up. But let's just pop this open. The top of the rail there always sticks. There you go, there we go. That one's seated back in. Opens up nice and easy. There's a bit of the magwell. Set that off to the side. This is a completely stock Slingfire that I had thrifted. And yeah, this is the ratcheting lock and everything. I'm going to be removing this piece because this is the mag release lock, which means that you can't release a magazine unless it is primed back. That is going to go because I like being able to slam a mag in with it open or closed, which makes my life a little bit easier, especially with having a dart already breached in and everything, and it's a good thing for HVZ. This is the depriming thing. The ratchet, you know, you can leave it, you can remove it, just depending on your tastes. I'm probably going to leave it in just for this because it'll just make my life a little bit easier. I might remove it later. But yeah, just you take out that one screw, that removes the gearbox cover. And this is going to be a direct drop-in replacement. You just take this, the lever. This smaller gear here is on a plastic pin. You want to get rid of the plastic pin. It just pulls straight out. And that will go right in place there. And your smaller gear will go right there. Now you'll want to make sure your alignment is correct and all that. Let's get this out of here. Don't need that because the bottom of the new replacement gear is actually the same size as that. I'm gonna have to get that out. Let's get the flush cutters. There we go. That just gave me a little extra grip. might want to try using something not so sharp you might end up snipping through your shell. But just going to take a little bit of this grease, and I'm actually going to use the rod here. Just put a little bit in there, and maybe a little bit around this rod here, and I'll just drop this into the, actually, yeah, this goes right there. Duh. I'm a doofus. I'm not sure if there's a major difference in the strength. I'm going to replace it anyway, just to be safe. And it just goes right in place there. And that'll spin freely. But now that we got a little bit of grease in there, you just drop this in place. And then the new lever. Here we go. I actually think I've got the alignment a little bit off on this, so you want to make sure you have it so it's seated all the way fully back, like so. Oh, got my finger in grease. Let me wipe this off. There is a lock in here that I am not getting. Oh, that's why. This pin is getting in the way. So we just want to remove it, I believe. Either that or it's my own fault. Yeah, I just want to get this pin out. Take that out, see if that fixes anything. There we go. Take that lock piece of grease. But yeah, this is just a direct drop-in replacement, and I will get back to you once I've got it all together. Before I put this all back together, I just wanted to remember to put the pad into the plunger tube. On this one, I wasn't able to really wedge the plunger rod out in any way, so I actually had to go in through from the front, compress the ring of silicone, and then just kind of align it and everything, make sure it's all in there. But the stock O-ring actually has a pretty darn good seal on the whole plunger tube, so that should be good. I'm gonna get this back together now. All right, just to double check that everything is sort of aligned and everything. This should be right. If not, I'll have to open this up and just move this back or forward by 1 notch or whatever, but it's easy enough to just align all this. Make sure it is Gucci. And yes, I did say Gucci. And there we go. Put this piece back in place with the spring. That acts as the depriming button. And if I remember correctly, it just goes like this. There we go. That might get in the way later, but for now I'm not too worried about it. Make sure I got all these locks out of here. And yeah, let's get this back together. Okay, it's been about a day later. I've put this thing through a good few rounds over at the Darts at the Park #2 with the Carolina Dart Coliseum people and Raleigh Youth Nerf Club, all those people. And this thing performed quite admirably with this metal lever. With that new spring, I think it's a 8 kg, 9 kg, something like that. It was able to hit the middle tower in the field from the far side of the kind of arena area, because we have lots of barriers set up and everything, cones, walls, half barriers, that sort of thing. And in the middle, we have a big tower. And I was able to clear that. I mean, I could hit it easily with things like X-Strike darts and everything, because that's all they have over there pretty much, because they get them from NF Strike, I assume. But yeah, it performs quite admirably. I also have a bunch of these little, these elite suction cup darts and stuff. Just slam that in there. But it is a little bit hard on the knuckles because it is metal after all. And where the original is that kind of softer plastic and it's more curved on the inside, it's a little bit less hard on your hands. So that's something to keep in mind. That can easily be remedied by, you know, wrapping it with leather or tennis tape or whatever you want to call it, sports tape. Even just some cloth, or wearing a good pair of gloves that cover your 3 fingers back here, because a lot of the pressure gets put on your pinky because of how it's designed, where it kind of tapers off at the bottom. But regardless, I still really like it. It even gets my, it beats out the metal lever that I actually looked at in the past from NF Strike, that is more of a traditional sort of like lever action Winchester rifle style, like large oval with that hook at the end, which I actually had to hammer to be a little more curved because it used to hit 18 mags whenever you bring it forward, and that was kind of unfortunate, especially for someone who plays a lot of HVUC, who needs 18 sticks a lot. But yeah, it was able to hit quite good FPS. It's still not gonna blow away your like long shot or whatever, but it's still quite nice. And a big thanks once again to 8Brothers for sending this my way to check out, because I have not seen anyone else use this lever yet. Because all these parts pop up and everything, and they're not really properly marketed or anything on NF Strike. They're just kind of put up on NF Strike. Maybe occasionally NF Strike or Worker Kit or whatever will put out an email showing off some new parts. But not everyone actually pays attention to that newsletter, so they don't actually see that. I just love that people are making more and more parts for things like the Slingfire and such, because the Slingfire is not a loved enough blaster, especially with things like the Sentinel, which the Sentinel is harder and harder to find nowadays, and you can't even buy a brand new one for less than $40. You really need to like thrift one and then get lucky and everything. But yeah, like the only thing that I don't like about the Sentinel is its aesthetics, because it's not that nicely designed. I much prefer the Slingfire's aesthetics over the Sentinel. I do want to get a Sentinel in the future because they are quite powerful and everything, and I want to be able to do with like an integration on it and everything. I want to bulk the body out and make it look really like a heavy lever action rifle. But yeah, like this is great. You're not going to be able to do the flippy tricks anymore. I mean, at least the main one that people like to do, where they sling it forward and then sling it back up with one hand. But regardless, you know, you can still do some flippy tricks where you like bring it forward and then flip it back around. Whoop. There you go. But yeah, I really like it. I know I'm just rambling at this point, but I actually did put this through some field use. Like, this is the second time I recorded my final thoughts, because the first time I recorded it was just after I put it together and did a little bit of testing, putting a few mags through it in the workshop. And I just felt that that wasn't good enough. You gotta actually use it a bunch to get a better feel for it and properly review the thing. But yeah, I will drop a link down below to the NF Strike page. It'll probably be where you can find this. But other than that, the next thing I really want to try for the Slingfire is that half-dart conversion, which is sort of based around the one for the Retaliator. But the Retaliator one won't work for this because this has a different style dart gate on it, and you really need to have one that fits properly, or else you'll have to just finagle a new one in there. But with this stronger spring and everything, plus a half-dart conversion, that will actually hit quite hard, I imagine. I'll have to try that out next. And they aren't that expensive, so I'll probably order one. Hopefully I can get one from like Monkey Mods or something. Actually, I don't think Monkey Mods sells them. But regardless, I will drop all the links down below. This gets my highest recommendation for the Slingfire, even above that original NF Strike lever. But as always, my name is Valor. Thanks for watching. As ever, big thanks to my patrons over on Patreon. There is a link down below. And yeah, be sure to like, share, subscribe, favorite, whatever. Interact with me down in the comments below. You know what to do.